Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my weekly Scripture for Thoughts video show. Up here at State Street, Barry Park, Manhattan, New York City, where everybody works hard, hustle the wise way, do a down-payment investments, be all clean and spiffy. All up in State Street, Barry Park, Manhattan, New York City. Now, I'm the host of the most, Reverend Mnhtn Walker. Now it's time to show you love to me, Reverend Mnhtn Walker. Time to show you love to me right now. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for cheers, applause, and standing ovations. Thank you for all the love. Now my sermon topic for today, my sermon topic for today is when you invite people to church and you do not succeed, you keep on try again until you build a large crop of righteous people that come into your ministry. Now, throughout time and space and time, when you see a great Bible practicing guy like myself and other Christians that's inviting people to church, and then you shun him, and then before you know it, when we keep on inviting people to church, the next thing you know, we have a big harvest of righteous people in our ministry. Look at me, for instance, Reverend Mnhtn Walker. I started with 4 members in my Bible discussion group, and now 4 years later, I have like 13 members in my group. Now check that out. Now, part one of my sermon topic, when you invite people to church and you do not succeed, you try again until you build a large crop of righteous people to come into your ministry. My first example is Moses. Of course, Moses led the people out of Israel with the help of God that did miraculous signs in the desert. Then Moses was trying to tell them to obey God, and they grumbled against God. They grumbled against Moses. They start talking bad about Moses, and they wanted to stone Moses. But you know what God did? God sent the serpent, God sent the snakes, God sent the poison snake to bite half of these a lot of people, and God had cursed all these people to die because they was all disobedient towards God. And God is also, with the help of Moses, he had put curses on people so that they'll learn from their mistakes and they'll be healed. And then after the evil people or the evil Israelites die, then their children and their grandchildren, how you doing, my friend? Right. Great to see you. Great to see you, my friend. Yes. And then after that, their children and then their grandchildren and their 4th generation finally listened to Moses, that's a servant of God, and they did great things. They did great things for their own people, and they went into the promised land. In the time of the rule of Joseph, Joshua. Now, part 1, Moses and the disobedient Israelites and the new generation of Israelites that obeys him. And when you invite people to your ministry, when you don't succeed, you try again until you bring a large crop of righteous people into your ministry. Now, another story is Jesus and the 77. Jesus and the 72 people. One day, Jesus had appointed his 12 disciples. He appointed his 12 disciples to bring 2 people ahead of each other, 72 people together within the towns of Israel. And then the Israelites came back and said, wow, we did miraculous signs, even the demons had submitted in your name. Then Jesus said, I saw Satan fall like lightning out the sky to the ground. Now, Do not rejoice that the evil spirits submit to you, but rejoice that your names is written in gold in heaven. And then he went further. Jesus went further and said, "Now to the towns that was disobedient to the Israelites, saying the good news, I tell you the truth. Sidon, and I'll tell you the truth. Chorazin, Bethsaida, and the other towns. I tell you the truth. It'll be much more bearable for Tyre and Sidon in the day of Judgment Day than for you. And now at that time, Jesus and the disciples had grown a big crop of disciples to come to Jesus' ministry in this time. Part 2, Jesus and the 72 people, 72 believers, and the 12 disciples. And it's part 2 of when you first invite people to church and you do not succeed, try again until you bring a whole large crops of righteous people into your ministry. Now the third example is King David and the Israelites. One day after King David was anointed king of Israel, he had forced the whole country of Israelite people to do the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. They did so, and God has blessed Israel many times over under the rule of King David. Now, part 3 of King David and the Israelites. And when you first invite people to church and you don't succeed, you try again until you bring a large crop of righteous people to come into your ministry. Now the fourth example is Paul and the bad Israelites and the good Gentiles. One day when Paul was preaching to the word of God to the Israelites became disobedient and abusive towards Paul. Then Paul said to the Gentiles, first I bring the word of God to you Israelites, but you have become disobedient and abusive. Now I send the word of God to all you Gentiles, and so you Gentiles will be light of the earth, and you'll be blessed many times over, much better than the Israelites. And this pleased the large group of Gentile people, and at the end, Paul had won a great large number of disciples all over to the Middle Eastern world. Part 4 is Paul and the disobedient Israelite Jews and the rise of the obedient Gentiles. Of the sermon topic. When you first invite people to church and you do not succeed, you try again until you bring a large crop of righteous people to your ministry. Now here's the conclusion. Now the next time you see a person like me, or person like any Christian guy or any Christian girl that's inviting people to church, and then some stupid idiot wise guy come and say, hey, you're not Jesus, you're not Paul, you're not Anthony, you're not Reverend Anthony Walker. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are trying to save the world? Do you think you can try to save the world? Do you think? And then you say, as your own person of the disciple, you said, well, I might not be Jesus, I might not be Paul, or I might be Reverend Anthony Walker, but a number of people I will save. If I could, when I try my best to save the world, I can sure try. Now, that's the end of my sermon topic. Of at first, when you invite people to church, when you don't succeed, you try again until you until you bring a large crop of righteous people up to your ministry, if you not give up. Now, it's that time again to show you love to me, Reverend Anthony T.C. Walker. It's time to show you love to me right now. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for cheers, applause, and standing ovations. Thank you for all the love. Now, as for in State Street and Battery Park, Manhattan, New York City, when everybody works hard, hustle the wise way, do adoptive investments, be on clean and spiffy, all up in State Street, Battery Park, Manhattan, New York City. Now, as for my weekly Scripture for Thoughts video show, a Manhattan special, I'm your host of the most, Reverend Anthony Walker. Said, Papa, I saw on that top for rap.